If you want a taste of what it was like to live in a house a couple hundred years ago, all you have to do is head out to a living history museum like this one in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. But to me, my attention goes right to the masonry. During the colonial era, the fireplace took the place of most of our utilities and appliances. They had to provide heat, light, and hot food. And that's why they had to be built to be as functional as possible. For cooking, I'm going to use this crane, which articulates in and out to keep me away from the flame. I can add a pot and push it right over the fire to cook. For a hot, flat surface, I can rake some ash, add some coals. Then I can use a special frying pan called a spider. That'll cook my bacon and eggs. Or I can use a trivet and an iron to press my clothes. So one of the coolest things about the early American fireplace is right here. It's the beehive oven, and it was built right next to the fireplace so it could use the same flue. The way these things work is simple. We're going to build the fire up front, and the way this is shaped, it's going to hold that heat for a long time. At that point, I'm going to pull the coals out, and then I'm going to wet down the bed with a wet broom, and then I'll be ready to cook. The things that need the hottest temperature are going to go in first, and then as the morning goes on, we're going to be able to put in stuff that does not need as much heat. By the mid-1800s, beehive ovens weren't being made anymore, but the ones that are still in existence today are used for pizza ovens and sometimes for baking bread. This homeowner emailed us about the original beehive oven he has in his house. This is really a great place. If you look to the left, that was built in 1835, but if you go over to the right side, that's the original portion of the house. That was built in 1750, which predates the Revolutionary War.
Mark, welcome to our home.
Oh, wow. So this is 1750 all day long. I mean, beautiful wide pine floors. You have the exposed beams.
Yep.
This is a museum piece, this fireplace. I mean, I'm out of my mind right now. I don't even know where to start.
You like it?
I love it. You still have the cooking arm for the pots.
Yeah.
This stone hearth. I bet you these stones came right from the backyard and placed as the hearth 300 years ago. So, but this is the gem right here, the old beehive oven.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so now I can see why you emailed us.
Yeah, so we've cooked pizzas in here a couple of times. We want to cook breads in here also. But each time I use it, I think that it's becoming more and more deteriorated. So I wanted to see if it could be fixed.
Okay, so first thing I can see is that the brick on the bed of the oven, they're gone.
That's pretty bad?
Yeah, we're going to have to take those out and replace those.
Okay.
And now look over to the right. You can see 6 or 7 more brick that are kind of in the same condition.
Right.
But that's not my biggest problem. Look at this opening.
Yeah, it's very small.
It's very small, and I have to work deep into the oven box. So I'm going to have to find access either through the back, maybe I can go through the side, but I'm going to have to find access somewhere.
Okay.
And when you're dealing with a 300-year-old beehive oven, it's very brittle, and any wrong move that I make could cause it to collapse, which is what we don't want to do, as you know.
We're willing to take the risk. We love the history of it, but we also want it to be usable and practical in our house, so we're very excited about the possibility.
All right, then we're going to get at it and make it work.
Okay.
All right, Sean. All right, so I was lucky enough to find an access panel. Unfortunately, it's just a bit too high. You can see this dome, that's the top of our beehive oven.
Right.
Connects very nicely into the chimney.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my access panel right here.
Okay.
Luckily for us, it doesn't have to be too big. Any house that was built before 1978, we have to assume had lead paint.
I think this house would definitely qualify.
It definitely qualifies. But if we were to make a bigger hole, we'd have to fall into full lead protocol, which means masking off this room. You and I are in a suit. We have full respirators on.
Okay.
But because we're going to keep this hole under 6 square feet,
Yeah.
we don't have to abide by those stringent rules.
Okay.
But we do want to work safe, so you and I will keep those respirators on. Anything that falls to the ground, we're going to scoop up with a HEPA vac, and then we should be good to go. Covering this beehive oven is a stucco coat of mortar. I'm going to have to take it off to get to the brick, and I'm going to start right here. So what we found is we do have 2 courses of brick.
Is that a problem?
It's not a problem. That means we're 8 inches thick, so we're happy with that.
Okay.
The only problem is every time I bang that outer layer of brick, I may affect what's on the inside. So again, I'm just gonna have to go as careful as possible at all times, no matter what I'm doing. All right. So that's the first one. Now we're going to go after the bed brick. All right, we got the demo out of the way.
Yeah, those bricks were really crumbly, Mark.
Right. So the reason for that is back in the 1700s, they just didn't have a kiln hot enough to cook these bricks to the temperature that they had to be to withstand that intense heat in that oven.
Right.
But now that we're doing something brand new, we have the opportunity to make a choice.
Okay.
This is what they call a fire brick. It could withstand heat up to 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. If I was building something brand new, fireplace or chimney, this is what my firebox would be made of.
Okay.
But because we're in restoration mode, we have a little bit of leeway on what we're going to use. So what we have here is a City Hall paver. It doesn't have the fire rating of a fire brick, but it will definitely withstand the heat that we're going to produce out of that oven.
Okay.
But more importantly, it's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it matches the original much better than the fire brick.
Right. So let's get going.
Okay.
So access is pretty tough for this beehive oven, so it's going to require that I use 2 masons, myself and Valmir.
Yeah, I see what you mean. That's a pretty tight area to be working in.
Well, that's why we needed 2 masons. We're going to work both ends. We're going to be able to pass the material to each other and point each other's work up. We are using a type N mortar. That's because the temperature is going to fluctuate as you use the oven, and the type N gives us a little more flexibility. And for this application, we're going to mix it a little wetter, and that's because the brick are so dry that we didn't want the water to be sucked out of the mortar. All right, Val, I'm going to come in.
Yes, right there.
All right, well, we got the oven back into one piece.
Terrific.
All right, so the only thing we're going to have to do now is get that access hole fixed.
Right.
You might want to bring in a specialty plaster because that's the original horsehair plaster to the house.
Okay.
You could probably do it yourself, but I think it's a job for a plastering contractor.
I understand.
Okay.
You guys did an absolutely terrific job. We can't wait to cook pizzas in.
The only thing you're going to have to do about that is just wait 28 days for that mortar to cure, and after that, Pizza City.
All right, sounds
right.
good. I was enthralled the whole time. I was nervous, but confident.
All right.
Wonderful work, Mark. Thank you
Great.
very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button. Make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.